Merrill, a 3-year-old pit bull, won the man's heart when he went to San Francisco's Rocket Dog Rescue looking for a dog to adopt. When the man came to pick her up, Merrill wouldn't leave her best friend behind. Hello and welcome to Amazing Animal Stories. Today's story is about a man who adopts a pit bull, but he is forced to return it. What happened next will melt your heart. However, before we begin our story, we would greatly appreciate it if you would subscribe to our channel, Amazing Animal Stories, and also press the bell icon. Let's get started. In 2014, Rocket Dog Rescue took in a sick pit bull and an older chihuahua who refused to be separated. The shelter is run by volunteers who want to save unwanted and abused dogs. Then one day, an incident showed their proximity to each other. When the two were brought to the hospital, Merrill had a nasty infection in her uterus, and she had to have surgery to save her life. During her surgery, Taco started to act very worried and upset. They also brought him in for tests because they thought he might have gotten the same infection. The shelter workers soon figured out that Taco wasn't sick at all. When Merrill entered the operating room, he started to get antsy and upset. When the surgery was over and Merrill was finally free, it was tough for the workers to put her in a separate room. There was one big problem. Merrill needed to be alone to heal faster, but she started crying as soon as she woke up from anaesthetic. The staff couldn't believe how much these two dogs cared about each other. Merrill and Taco both cried until Taco was allowed to join Merrill in the recovery area. During Merrill's recovery, Taco paid close attention to her and cared about her. The little chihuahua never left his best friend's side after that. The shelter knew that it's much harder to find homes for dogs that come in pairs because most of them aren't ready to take on 2 dogs at once. So, they decided to list Merrill and Taco separately on their website and hope to find different homes for each of them. Senior dogs are harder to find homes for, so Taco didn't get much attention. On the other hand, Merrill was a different story. When a man who wanted to adopt a dog went to the shelter, he saw Merrill and decided she was the one. The people who worked at the shelter were so happy that she'd finally been picked. The man filled out all the paperwork for Rocket Dog Rescue, but when the day came for him to get her, something went terribly wrong. The man was excited to take Merrill home, so he went to the shelter with all his new dog toys and leashes. He didn't know that Merrill didn't share his feelings. Merrill was taken out of her cage, but Taco was left inside. When the man started to walk away with Merrill, she started howling and wouldn't stop. Merrill dug her paws into the ground, refusing to move as she whined as if she was in serious pain. The man didn't know what was happening, but shelter staff had feared this to happen. The shelter staff told the man about Taco and Merrill, who were best friends and couldn't be split up since they arrived. The man felt guilty all of a sudden. He saw that they couldn't be apart. He agreed that staying together was best for them. The man only had room for 1 dog, so he couldn't take in Merrill and Taco. Instead, he chose to get a different dog. The shelter knew then that they had to change their plan. After the scene the dogs made, Rocket Dog Rescue staff were forced to come to the conclusion that it was best for Merrill and Taco to stay together. They changed the website listing from 2 separate dogs to a pair of dogs that couldn't be separated, because it was terrible for their health. It was a considerable risk. Only once or twice had the shelter found a home for a pair of animals together. They knew they might have to wait for a while, but they didn't have a choice. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the shelter started to worry that the pair might never find a permanent home. However, the shelter never gave up hope and continued to document their special relationship on their site in the hopes of catching someone's attention. As they waited, a kind volunteer named Jody saw their posts and decided to take care of them until they found a permanent home. It was only the start. Their foster mom, Jody, kept writing about how cute they were together. She also sent pictures of them to the shelter, which they put on their site. Their sweet story quickly went viral, and other dog lovers were impressed by their loyalty to each other. It wasn't long before a good chance came along and knocked on the door. When a family from San Jose saw Merrill and Taco's story on the shelter's website, they fell in love with them. They set up a meeting with Jody to meet the 2 dogs. After meeting them, they decided they wanted to bring them into their family. When it was time for Taco and Merrill to move to their new home, they were happy to go together. But there wasn't yet a happy ending. As older dogs do, Taco had asthma and bad teeth, and he only had 4 of them. At first, these health problems didn't seem so bad, but a month after he and Merrill were adopted, his new family took him to the vet. The family then heard the news, and the outlook didn't look good. Unless something was done soon, Taco would suffer impending heart failure. The doctor found that Taco's heart was bigger than average and that fluid was around his lungs. He was scheduled to see a specialist and was given medicine immediately. The family was ready for the worst, but also tried to keep their hopes up. Even though Taco was on medicine, his owners knew that his old age meant he might not get better. Still, his family gave him a chance and showed him lots of love and care. Meryl also stood up for Taco and didn't leave her best friend even for a second. Then, in a strange turn of events, Taco's condition seemed to start getting better. Since then, Taco's health has been stable and his heart is no longer in danger. He has to take several medicines for the rest of his life, such as drugs to stop seizures and steroids for his lungs. Even though he still has breathing problems, the little Chihuahua doesn't let that stop him from playing with his human siblings and his best friend Meryl. Meryl loves to run and roll around in the grass in the yard where her family lives. Since she is a young adult, she has been very active and energetic. But Taco can't keep up with her, so the other kids carry him to where Meryl is playing. As time passed, the family began to see how strong their bond was. To the joy of everyone following their story since the shelter first posted it, the family decided to set up social media accounts for the dogs and keep the internet up to date with what they do every day. The name of their Facebook page is Meryl and Taco, and they already have a lot of fans. People love to watch Meryl and Taco do things, whether they're taking funny naps, sitting next to each other, showing off their unique relationship, or going for walks. Their pictures always get a lot of love and support. After all they've been through, seeing them happy together makes you excited about their happiness. So that's it for today. Let us know your views in the comment section below. We hope you found this story very interesting. If you did, please give it a big thumbs up and share it with others. Also, if you haven't already, please consider subscribing to our channel, Amazing Animal Stories, and don't forget to turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any of our new uploads.